So when you guys think of self-care, I want you guys to think about what is the first thing that comes to mind. Is it the cheesiest Pinterest quote that you have ever heard? Is it flashes of meditation in Zen gardens? Is it some hippie that you met a while back that told you to be kind and love yourself? Self-care can be that at times. Personally, I think that self-care is a lot deeper than that. It's very, very personal, and it's not always just about positive vibes, like all those hippies make it out to be. Self-care is any action that brings mental or physical wellness to you. It can be something that you do every day, or it can be something that you do once a year. It can range from part of your daily routine to something that you only do once a year. As long as it brings any sort of mental or physical wellness, it can be classified as self-care. So it's important to understand what self-care is, so that way you can recognize how you engage in acts of self-care. So the truth is, we all engage in acts of self-care. Even if we try to dissociate ourselves from those hippies, we still engage in those acts. So I'm going to discuss what exactly self-care is, the different types of self-care is, and what it looks like. So self-care is probably the most self-explanatory concept in the world. It is caring for yourself. That's all it is. It's just caring for yourself. A January 23rd, 2024 report from Southern New Hampshire University defines it as anything you do to keep yourself healthy. So self-care can lead to a happier lifestyle, increased productivity. It can limit your frustration. When you care for yourself, when you put your body and your mind first, you are able to separate your emotions as well as your body from negative outside forces. So self-care, an example would be like our morning hygiene routines. This is an example of physical self-care, brushing our teeth. Make sure that it brings physical wellness and that it keeps our teeth healthy. So I'm going to talk about now the different types of self-care, which I would argue that about 95% of any acts of self-care can be divided into these two categories. You have emotional self-care, and then you have physical self-care. So a June 7th, 2018 report from Project Helping states about physical self-care, any activities that improve physical health, such as a diet and exercise. So that could be anything from going to the gym, to cutting out fast food, to even playing with your kids. And the same report defines emotional self-care as caring for emotional health in order to maintain your emotional well-being. And you may be asking yourself, why is this important? Why do I care? How is this going to affect me? Because at the end of the day, I'm just going to go home and go to bed. But it's important to keep in mind that when you practice physical self-care, you see a lot of results that affect your everyday lifestyle. People who often engage in acts of physical self-care have seen better sleep, better physical health, and better moods. And this is something that I can definitely attest to. I feel that when I go to the gym and work out, I feel better, not just in my body, but about myself than I do when I stay at home and eat 7 bags of chips in 3 hours. And emotional self-care has benefits as well. It helps to eliminate stress and anxiety. It increases your concentration. And this is one that I think is really important. It improves your relationships, and it helps to reduce that emotional burnout that you feel. I'm sure we've all been there, where we've been hanging out with our friends a little too much, and we all get sick of them, and we just need to go home and have some time for ourselves. So there's benefits to the self-care. It's not just a bunch of hippies saying what they're saying. There's actual studies and improvements in people's lives that have been made through engaging in acts of caring for your mind and your body. So now that we know the benefits, I want to talk about what it looks like, so that you can recognize and some things that you maybe might not think of that are acts of self-care that really you're doing because they bring you either emotional or physical wellness. So examples of physical care can be anything from, like I said, going to the gym, dieting, exercising. It can be going for a morning run, playing with your dog. It can be playing with your kids, any sort of physical activity that you do that brings you physical or emotional wellness. It can be your morning stretches, it can be cleaning, it can be cooking, any physical activity that gets your body moving helps. Examples of emotional self-care, I feel, has a much wider range of what can be classified. So emotional self-care for the everyday person can look like our everyday hobbies. Anything from watching movies, watching TV, painting, playing video games, reading comics, anything that you do for your mind that provides a temporary feeling of wellness that you do to separate yourself from the current time, or that you do to put yourself in a better mood or better mindset. Anything like that is a good example of emotional self-care. So for me, that would be music. So I play guitar, and that is an example of physical self-care and emotional self-care because I am doing both. I am physically moving my body and physically working my muscles in such a manner, and it provides physical benefits as well as emotional benefits. I feel that I can really challenge myself and push myself to learn and play new things, and that helps with the emotional mindset of let me keep going even though things are hard. So for me, music is definitely one of my emotional self-care acts that I engage in, whether it be listening, playing, or attempting to create music. That is one of them. A physical example of a physical act of self-care that I engage in would be going to the gym and walking my dog, and that is something that I do that helps my body and brings physical wellness to my body. And then definitely the most important act of self-care that I practice, and I try to do it routinely as much as I can, is an act of emotional self-care, and that is spending time with my partner and trying to continuously strengthen and build that relationship that we have. And that helps my that's an act of an emotional self-care that I participate in. So the truth is that we all participate in acts of self-care. After school, after work, after whatever, we all come home and we do, for lack of better terms, what we want. Again, whether it be watching movies, even sleeping. I know sleeping provides a lot of benefits for your body. It makes you feel more energized, and it gives your muscles time to relax. So it really can be anything that provides, or that can be classified as self-care. So it's important to prioritize ourselves, both our bodies and our mind, to make sure that we function correctly, and also that we can function better. So that way we can communicate better, we can improve our relationships, we can improve our mental and physical state. And it's important to maintain at least some form of self-care, whether it be physical or mental, so that we have something that we use to cope more effectively